By the end of this video, you'll know the 3 exact signals that tell you your side hustle is ready to become your full-time business. And the last one, it's the opposite of what every hustle culture guru tells you. And there's research that proves they're wrong. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Here's a number that should matter to you. According to the Kauffman Foundation, the top quarter of side hustlers, the ones who actually make the leap and stick, earn a median of $4,200 a month before they quit their jobs. Not after, before. That's the first signal, and it comes down to a rule most financial advisors agree on. Your side hustle should replace at least 75 to 80% of your take-home pay before you hand in your notice. Not your gross salary, your take-home. The difference is enormous. Here's why that number is higher than you think. The moment you go full-time, you're suddenly paying both halves of your Social Security and Medicare taxes, an extra 15% on every dollar you earn. Someone making $60,000 a year as a self-employed person could owe over $9,000 in taxes they weren't accounting for. Add in health insurance, the average single person pays about $7,900 a year for coverage, and the math shifts fast. Most early transitions don't fail because the business wasn't working. They fail because the owner never saw the tax bill coming. But here's what nobody tells you about that income threshold. A lot of people hit $3,000 or $4,000 a month and just stop. Not because the business isn't working, because quitting makes it real. If they fail now, there's no excuse. The job becomes a psychological safety net, and the longer they hold on to it, the slower the business grows. Sound familiar? If you've been sitting at that number for months, telling yourself you need just a little more certainty, that feeling has a name. It's not caution. It's the fear of becoming someone who tried and failed in public. Jenna Kutcher learned this the right way. She was making $35,000 a year at a marketing job in Minneapolis when she started a wedding photography side hustle on weekends. For 18 months, she built it at the kitchen table after work. Laptop open, calendar filling up, coffee going cold. When her income hit around $5,000 a month in busy seasons, she did the math carefully. Then she left. By 2018, 6 years later, her business had grown into courses, a podcast, and over $1 million a year in revenue. Her own words, "I quit when my fear of staying got bigger than my fear of leaving, but I also quit when the math made sense." Both things, not just one. Before you leap, the National Federation of Independent Business found the median entrepreneur had $23,000 saved as a runway. 6 to 12 months of expenses, sitting there as a buffer. That's not paranoia. That's the difference between making good decisions and desperate ones. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Clearing the income threshold gets you out the door. What happens after depends almost entirely on how your business is structured. And most people structure it wrong. They leave a job where they traded time for money and become a freelancer who trades time for money. Nothing actually changed. Great months when you're booked, terrifying months when you're not. That's not a business. That's a job with worse benefits and no paid vacation. The move is to productize before you leap. Package what you know into something that doesn't require 1 hour of your time for every dollar earned. An online course, a retainer agreement, a template shop, something that scales past your hours. And the urgency is real. Because every month you spend trading time for money after going full-time, the clock gets louder. Founders surveyed 1,000 entrepreneurs and found that those who built at least one semi-passive income stream before going full-time reported 42% higher annual revenue in their first 3 years. 42%. That's not a small edge. Nathan Barry understood this early. In 2012, he was a designer in Boise, Idaho, doing freelance work and writing occasionally. He packaged his knowledge into an ebook called the App Design Handbook and sold it to a blog audience of fewer than 2,000 people. First week, $12,000. He stared at that number and understood viscerally that what he knew could scale far beyond what he could personally do in a day. He took that principle and built ConvertKit, now called Kit, which crossed $1 million in annual recurring revenue in 2016 and hit over $38 million by 2023. His line on all of it: the goal isn't to be a freelancer forever. The goal is to productize what you know so it can scale beyond your hours. 1. Underused tactic before you quit. Convert your best clients into monthly retainers. A single $2,500 retainer is $30,000 a year in predictable income. 2 or 3 of those, and you've replaced a median US salary with far more control over your time. That's the difference between jumping and falling. If this is clicking for you, hit subscribe. I put out videos like this every week. And the next point is the one most people never hear. Here it comes. All right, this is the one I've been saving. The number one reason people fail after going full-time isn't money, marketing, or finding clients. Research published in the Journal of Business Venturing found it's something almost nobody in the entrepreneurship space talks about: identity. Entrepreneurs who genuinely thought of themselves as business owners, not freelancers, not people with a side hustle, were 2.4 times more likely to reach profitability within 2 years. Dr. Melissa Cardone at the University of Tennessee spent over a decade studying this and found entrepreneurial identity to be a stronger predictor of survival through hard times than financial resources or prior business experience. It's not about what you have, it's about who you decide you are. Here's what that looks like in practice. A side hustle mindset waits for clients to come to them. A business owner goes and finds clients. A side hustle mindset charges what feels comfortable. A business owner charges based on value delivered. And here's the number that stops people cold. Pricing consultant Jonathan Stark found that when service providers triple their rates, they don't lose 2/3 of their clients. They lose 20 to 30%, almost always the most difficult ones. Net revenue increases 40 to 60% while hours worked drops. Triple the price, more money, less work. The math is real. Sarah Blakely was selling fax machines door to door in Atlanta in 1998, a job she hated, when she started cutting the feet off her pantyhose to wear under white slacks. She spent $5,000 in savings, wrote her own patent at the kitchen table, and cold called manufacturer after manufacturer in North Carolina until one finally said yes. Spanx launched in 2000. Neiman Marcus was carrying it by 2001. Blakely became the youngest self-made female billionaire in US history by 2012. In a Forbes interview that year, she said this: "I had to act as if it was already real before it was real. I'd tell people I had a product company. I didn't say I was trying to start one. I said I have one. That mattered." That language shift preceded every external breakthrough, not the other way around. And about burning the boats, the idea that you need to quit cold to create pressure to succeed, a 2014 study in the Academy of Management Journal found that entrepreneurs who kept their day jobs while building were 33% less likely to fail than those who quit cold. Pressure doesn't sharpen you, it puts you in survival mode. And survival mode is the enemy of clear, strategic thinking. The hustle gurus telling you to jump without a net are mostly selling you the drama of their own story. The data tells a quieter, more useful truth. Deciding you're a business owner before the revenue confirms it, before anyone else agrees, that shift alone could matter more than everything else on this list combined. So, there you go. 3 signals. Replace 75 to 80% of your income before you leap. Productize so you're not just selling your hours, and make the identity shift before the world validates it. A 2022 Zapier survey found that 76% of people who went full-time said they wished they'd done it sooner. The average delay, time they admitted waiting longer than necessary, 14 months. Not years, 14 months. And the most common reason wasn't finances. It wasn't clients. It was, I wasn't sure I was ready. Readiness isn't something you feel before the leap. It's something you feel after. If this video helped, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. I'm breaking down exactly how to land your first paying client, even if you're starting from zero. You don't want to miss it.